They are curious about Africa.
Okay.
You understand? And they've been bombarded about, with all misinformation, disinformation, you understand, sensationalized headlines about Africa.
Yeah.
So they want to, quench their curiosity. They want to know what exactly is about Africa. They check online, they find out that I am a Hausa person from Kano, Nigeria, Africa, teaching the language. They believe, they should get this undiluted information from somebody, from the culture. So this is amazing. I love my my colleagues. Yeah, they are the best. Yeah, but there's a limit to how we relate. After work, they go about their business. I go about mine. I go home. For example, I couldn't even speak the language, the local language, German. Yeah, of course, there are many people who speak English, but German is the local language, And I couldn't find a single Hausa person from northern Nigeria in the first weeks and months I was in Cologne. My name is Dr Muhsin Ibrahim, but I normally write Muhsin Ibrahim on most of my non-official things. I was born and raised in Kano, Nigeria. I studied at Gwale Primary School, Warure Junior Secondary School. I started GTC Udel, Government Technical College Udel. I later finished at Government Technical College Kano. I started FCE Kano, studying PES English. But after a year, I got an admission into University of Cologne, where I left FCE Kano, went there and studied BA at English. Upon completion, I got a job to teach at the Department of English and Literary Studies, University of Cologne, and where I started my MA in English Literature. A year later, I got married and left Nigeria with my wife to India, where I studied my master's degree. I returned to Nigeria a couple of years later in 2017, August. I got another opportunity to leave Nigeria, to go to Germany to study and teach. So, Alhamdulillah, I've been there since then. I completed my PhD in 2022, I believe. Or 2021, sometime I get confused about the year. Yeah, so, after completing my master's, Alhamdulillah, they retained me. So, I'm there working and still studying because I'm a learner. I'm a perpetual learner, so to say. I think I have given enough background about myself.
That's really great. Now, let's briefly talk about your life in India. You got a scholarship from the then Kano State government under Rabi Musa Kwankwaso to study in India. You did that, you already mentioned that. And then you did your PhD in Germany. What I'm not sure of is whether or not Kwankwaso was instrumental in your scholarship or in your PhD program in Germany. But then the question is briefly, you could clarify that in your answer. But the question is, what could you say fundamentally are the differences between life in India and subsequently your life in Europe?
So I went to India in 2013, June. Yeah, and I left in 2015, June, exactly 24 months. India is a lot like Nigeria in many senses. First, it's another former colony of Great Britain. Yeah, and it is a very multicultural, multi-ethnic, multilingual country. We lived in Punjab, which is a Sikh majority state. When I say Sikh, I mean S-I-K-H.
Yeah, the people that practice the religion of Sikhism.
Of Sikhism, exactly.
Yes, those that wear turban.
Turban and veil. Like,
yeah, and they have this.
They live a turban, I mean a beard. Yeah. So, they are very nice people, honestly. More friendly, more accommodating, more open than their Hindu counterparts. India is a Hindu majority country by far, but Sikh people are the third majority, I think, after Muslims. So we lived in their city. They are very nice, friendly, as I said earlier, open. They have this communal life. They care about their neighbors. Yeah, of course, nobody is perfect, but overall, India is a lot like Nigeria. I think that is why people, see themselves in their films. That is why their films have been so popular for decades, across Africa or other so-called global South countries. Yeah. So far, actually, my life in India is filled with good memories. Yeah, and I miss the country. I still maintain kind of close ties, with my friends, with my neighbors, with my teachers there. My wife and I have always been, wanting to go back to visit or to do some other things.
And the English is funny also.
Yeah, English is funny. I ever wrote about it. I think an article I wrote about it was published by Professor Farouk Pirogi in his column. Yeah, some years back. Yeah, I wrote about some of the peculiarities of their English. Honestly speaking, although India then was the largest English-speaking country, I know this is quite weird or strange for some people to know or to hear, not because they have L1 speakers of the language, but L2 speakers of the language.
Meaning?
Meaning, people speaking English as their second language. You can't compare it like with speakers of English in Great Britain or US or New Zealand or Australia, and so on. But because of their sheer number, the sheer number of the speakers, India is now the most populous country on earth with over 1.3 billion people. So assume 50% of this number speaks English. Then definitely that will surpass the number of speakers of English in the US, which is the largest English-speaking country, with about how many people? 300 million, right? Yeah. So this is it. But the English, as you call it funny, I don't want to call it funny.
Okay. Yeah. What word would you give it?
But let's say strange.
Okay.
Yeah. It's not. It doesn't have a baggage, the word strange, as much as the word funny has. Yeah, in the sense that is the peculiarity of their accent, of their diction, of their manner, of speech, and so on and so forth. And as non-English speakers, we also have our peculiarities in when speaking English, because there are words and phrases that exist in our language that cannot be 100% accurately translated into English. You understand? But we have to find our ways to express our thoughts, our feelings, our fears, in our L2 language. In so doing, we come up with some new words, new phrases, you understand, which may not make sense to native speakers, like the issue of flashing, you understand, and so on and so forth. Yeah, co-wife and the rest of them. So likewise in English,
linguistically speaking, is that an advancement to the English language?
It is
different, multiple varieties.
I consider it an advancement. Actually, it's a positive thing, not a negative thing. Yeah. That is why today we talk about Englishes, right? Like there is no single, English. We have Englishes. We have varieties of English. I think this is even a course taught at universities. Yeah, there is Nigerian English. Also, some people dispute its existence, but it exists, I believe. Yeah, there is Indian English. Some people call it Hinglish. Yeah, there is Chinese English. People call it Chinglish, and so on and so forth. So it's a very, some of them don't speak good English, obviously speaking, because Hindi has equal or even better status than English. It's allowed in India to speak Hindi everywhere for official dealings at schools. For example, sometimes they just switch to their mother tongue, that is Hindi, where I studied. Even while I was in the class, but they don't care. They will just speak Hindi,
Without acknowledging that there are African students studying together with them.
I was the only African student in the class.
Was it Lovely Professional University or what?
It's Lovely Professional University. It is the biggest private university in India. Yeah. So, well, that is sometimes
full of memories.
Full of memories, but I think that issue of English, I don't want to delve into it deeper, but it's an issue for most of us non-Hindi speaking students in India.
Yeah, definitely.
So, but life in Germany is totally different. It's a so-called first world country. Yeah, highly developed, industrialized. You understand? And honestly, the people are cold in the sense they are not very friendly compared to the Indian people. Yeah, the system works there. They rely on the government. You know, for example, if you fall sick, mostly in here, you will think about your neighbor who has a car, your friend, you know, your relative. But in their case, you will first and foremost think about an ambulance. Yeah, if there is a dispute between you and your friend, here you will likely call somebody, an elderly person, to come and reconcile you, settle your dispute. But there they will just simply call a police, you know, police officers. You understand, the system works there. And overall, by nature, I think Germans are not very friendly. With all due respect, I like them, I enjoy my life there. But research, survey after survey, you know, have established that it is the least friendly country for expats.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So anyone who is willing to go to Germany should put that on their mind, that actually they may not be warmly welcomed as they think they will be. And that is not to say they are not actually welcome, but by nature, they are not that open, accommodating. And I'm able, like you, to be in the city. I live Cologne. It's way better, way different from other cities in Germany. So by
how?
It's a very multicultural city. I think one of the most multicultural cities in Germany. There are Muslims, there are non-Muslims, of course there are Arabs, there are Turkish people, there are African people, you know, there are people from around the world. Yeah, that makes it an interesting city.
Yeah, you talked about, I'm sorry to cut you off, you talked about the fact that when somebody is sick, they call an ambulance. In the US, they call 911. What do you call? What code do you call in
Germany? They call 112 in Germany.
112. Yeah. Okay. And what's the length between the call and the arrival?
I have never called one, but they come as soon as possible, because they are everywhere. I think I have never had a siren, you know, because a government official is passing by. Yeah, I rather hear a siren when an ambulance is passing by, or a police car. And that is very constant. Yeah. So overall, and I don't know my neighbors.
You don't know your neighbors?
The neighbor
in India,
next door.
They have this, as you said, communal relationship.
Communal relationship.
Yeah, there is this not communism, but communalism in India, as we have in northern Nigeria.
Honestly,
but in Germany, it's a totally different story.
It's a totally different story.
And
in
you
the
feel
sense,
uncomfortable.
the person just next door, you know, I don't know his name as I speak to you. And this is a house I have lived in for more than 3 years. There's another couple, one biracial guy and a black woman. They live together, you know, as partners, which is very common topic for another day.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done everything possible to, like, you know, break the ice, you know,
to belong.
You know, we invited them during Eid festival. Yeah, we've eaten together. I thought they will return the favor, not because we don't have anything to eat, but like, this is how life normally works. Yeah, but they have never done that. Well, sometime we may stop by and exchange a few words, but that is just it. Yeah. But, you know, normally you will expect them to also invite you during their own festivals, if they have any, you know, to walk to some place, maybe to visit you at your workplace, or you work to something like that, but it never happens. Yeah. So that is just how they are. And mostly when you meet your neighbor or colleague, unless you have something really important to discuss, they will just say hello, hi, and that is just it. Yeah. So for us, this is weird.
Is it a factor this lack of communalism, is it one of the factors responsible for making a lot of Europeans now depressed, sliding into depression?
It is one of the factors.
Because Germany
obviously
is not even among the top 20 happiest countries on earth. It falls somewhere around 24 or thereabouts. Norway, Denmark, Sweden are those topping the list. Norway has been topping the list for about 6 years right now. Germany is nowhere to be found.
Yeah, there is a lot more actually. You know, the history of the First, the Second World Wars, the existence of existentialism, which denies the existence of any purpose for our existence, you know. So all they think about life is here and now. You understand? There is no afterlife. I'm not criticizing them, but this is the truth. I believe their current situation has a lot to do with their past. Exactly. So people sometimes they don't want to meddle in their neighbor's life. You understand? Yeah. They just want to be. They don't want to trespass. Let me call it this way. Yeah. They want to just mind their business. Yeah. They don't want to press you. You understand? So in so doing, they are isolating themselves. You know, and humans are known to be what? Social animals. When you decide not to, you know, associate, you understand, bond together, it takes toll on your life. Yeah. There are many surveys, many investigations that establish this fact. The more we come together, you know, associate, eat together, visit one another, show concern, you know, the more the happier we become. But when we deny this innate, you know, feeling, yeah, then we are denying ourselves a lot of things, and the nature, you know, will not let us be what we want to be. So I believe it has a lot to do with their current situation. Some of them are feeling depressed. Some are even suicidal, especially during the winter. Life becomes quite more challenging for them. Not just Germans, it's global, even in Japan, in China, and other parts of the world. And social media contributes a lot, or internet in general. I recommend this book by Jonathan Haidt. He titles it The Anxious Generation. It's more concerned or concentrated on Gen Z. But overall, even us who are not Gen Zs are affected by social media. So a lot of things are not going well from that, let's say, human, social, psychological point of view. But life goes on. Yeah.
I have got a few questions before we end regarding this issue of social media. And thank God that you have started raising it up. But to conclude that issue of mental health, stability, this issue of suicide and depression, as a Muslim and as somebody who has taught Quran and Hadith and other Islamic books at Islamia schools, what would you say about the beauty of Islam that does encourage relating with people, communalism, like interacting with people in peace and harmony and embracing everyone irrespective of religion and race and whatever? What could you say about this as a Muslim, as an Islamic teacher?
Yeah, that means a lot actually for communities around the world. Well, it's good that as Muslims we believe in that, and it helps us navigate our life. But I believe most religions, particularly these three Abrahamic religions, Christianity and Judaism, have the same message, of people coming together to pray together, to bond during festivals, to commiserate when somebody loses someone or has some calamity befall upon him, or to celebrate, to congratulate. But as Muslims, let me limit it to our own religion. It means a lot. For example, for us Muslims, we go to mosque to pray 5 times. So we are not just going to pray. You understand? We form rows, you know, we pray immediately after the prayer, you know, we interact, we shake hands for the Arabs is they embrace, you know, they kiss cheeks, you know, yeah, they talk about their, you know, we talk about our life in general. And for us specifically as Hausa, we know, you know, yeah, we are very communal. We greet one another. We ask about everything. Yeah.
Especially the Fulanis, they ask about everything.
Even the houses.
Okay.
Yeah, we ask about one's family, the children, the weather, the business, school, you know, the neighbors, even the animals. Yeah. Honestly speaking, that means a lot. Yeah. And I think Islam encourages us to respect our neighbors. How many? Left and right and back and front, you understand, to visit the sick, you understand, to respect elders, to even help them, for children to respect, to revere even their parents, you know, and so on and so forth. So this means a lot. And unfortunately, any community that lacks this actually is losing a lot. I'm not calling everybody to embrace religion, you know, but I would always be proud of being Muslim and being religious. Yeah. And I think...
And that has helped you?
That has helped me a lot. When I was all alone, so to say, in Germany, the first few months I was there, my wife couldn't join me, of course, in the first year, and even beyond. Yeah. I was all alone. My colleagues, in most cases, not only mine, your colleagues in the West are not your friends. Yeah, they are your colleagues. You work together seamlessly, of course, during the work. It's not toxic workplace. I love my my colleagues. Yeah, they are the best. Yeah, but you know, there's a limit to how we relate. After work, they go about their business. I go about mine. I go home, for example. I couldn't even speak the language, the local language, German. Yeah, of course, there are many people who speak English, but German is the local language, you know. And I couldn't find a single Hausa person from northern Nigeria in the first weeks and months I was in Cologne. Yeah, until much later. I have some good, excellent friends, so to say, in Bonn, but Bonn is another city away from Cologne. I cannot go there every day, but sometimes I go there, and a family of one, Ahmad Salisu, I must mention him. And his of Deutsche Welle, exactly, and his amazing wife. They helped me a lot. Actually, they will give me food. I will come back home. Yeah,
that's
I did for the meal, for more days. Yeah. So I told my wife, I have been telling my wife this story several times. So, but then when I discovered a mosque, that helped me. So, yeah, I discovered a mosque, a Ghanaian community, and now they are my second family. Yeah, I don't feel that lonely anymore, although my wife has already joined me. But with that Ghanaian and even Togolese communities, you understand?
Yeah.
I feel and they are Muslims and Hausa speakers, although they are not ethnic Hausa in most cases. So I have a family. I don't feel that isolated, that lonely anymore, honestly speaking. You see, Islam plays a vital role in that. Yeah. So I think it's good for people to, know the ethics, the core values of religion, particularly of Islam. It's not a panacea, so to say, to depression, but it helps a lot to reduce our anxiety, our depression, our loneliness. Yeah. Because it encourages us to bond, to relate, you understand, to commiserate, to congratulate, to do a lot for other people and for them to do for us. Yeah.
You have been teaching Hausa language in Germany. Briefly, talk to us about the journey so far and whether or not you have succeeded in shaping, in teaching someone from the scratch as an absolute beginner now to someone who can speak Hausa language.
So I think there is a sort of misunderstanding about my teaching of Hausa in Germany, shared by many people. I teach Hausa studies, not Hausa language in particular. When you say Hausa studies, it comprises other components, language, culture, media, and much more. Yeah. So, but anyway, as I said, it's part of the work I do.
So you teach
teaching
in English,
the language.
not in Hausa?
I use both language, but I mostly use English actually, because some of these courses I teach, I have students that are only interested not in the language, but in the culture and the people and the media. So there's no reason for me to use Hausa in the class. Yeah. So, but anyway, with regard to teaching Hausa in particular, I've taught many of them. They are not doing BA, MA, or PhD in Hausa. Just understand this. They are taking Hausa language for two reasons. Some, as part of the requirement for them to graduate, compulsory courses, because they study African studies. We have this culture and environment in Africa program. So they have to take one of the 3 African languages taught at our institute. I teach Hausa studies. I have a colleague teaching Swahili from East Africa, and I have another one teaching Wolof, Senegalese language, the most popular language spoken in Senegal. Yeah. So for those students, they must take one of these 3 languages to make their requirements, credit requirements to graduate. But for others, it is out of interest. They can come from around the university, regardless of the course they study. I have had students from law, faculty of law, of geography, sciences, you know, and so even medicine. So they call it studium integrala. They can come from anywhere. It's just to get some knowledge about Africa, or not Hausa people in particular, or Hausa people in particular. You understand? They have this system, an interesting, amazing system, you know, where you can do what we call in Hausa, yaki da jahilci.
Okay, yes,
you know?
Adult education.
Not adult education, no. I mean, they are curious about Africa.
Okay.
You understand? And they've been bombarded about, you know, with misinformation, disinformation, you understand, sensationalized headlines about Africa. Yeah. So they want to, you know, quench their curiosity. They want to know what exactly is about Africa. They check online, they find out that I am a Hausa person from Kano, Nigeria, Africa, teaching the language. They believe, you know, they should get this undiluted information from somebody, you know, from the culture. So this is amazing. Some of them will just come to you know, to know the things, yeah. But a few really, yeah, their target is to learn the language. And I have had some success stories, you know. Some can now speak the language, not fluently, obviously, honestly speaking, yeah. They would speak fluently, maybe if they could have the chance to come here and stay for a while. But with the, you know, the security situation, it is very difficult for them to come to any West African country, where Hausa is spoken, like let's say Niger or Nigeria. But there are others, of course, but I would not recommend a Hausa learner to go to Ghana, or with all sense of respect to my Ghanaian Hausa speakers, or Cameroon, or Chad, and so on. They should come to Nigeria or Niger, to learn the language. So anyway, some of them can speak the language to a certain proficiency level, but majority don't, and because they don't need that. Yeah, their target is not the language, in particular, but the Hausa in Africa, or in general.
Dr. Muhsin Ibrahim, it's a great pleasure speaking to you on Mikiya TV. In 5 seconds, a word to Mikiya TV.
So I wish you all the best. You are doing an amazing job, and I will make sure I watch and share this with family and friends. Yeah, I wish you all the best. Thank you for having me once again. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.